So there's this effort by some reactionaries online to try to get like a Gamergate 2.0, and the biggest one that I've seen lately that I was not arguing with but like responded to on Twitter is Boogie. So he posted this with like no additional context, but I'll fill you in. Hot take: video games are supposed to be fun, not lectures about why being a white man is bad. And then he links to his like Gamergate 2 is here. And it's just so crazy because like as a white dude, I don't ever feel like there was a time where a game beat me over the head with some message about how it was bad to be white. Like I've been playing games since I was like 4.
Name one title. Like every single time I've responded with name one title, just one. Give me one. I just want one example. If you this is such
some
a big
guy
problem,
responded to you, Lance. I think it was somebody guy who responded to you, Lance, who was like BioShock Infinite, and I was like, I was like the whole point of that game. Like midway through that game, they say this is not what they spell it out in like the most. There's a whole section in BioShock 2 where you fight the resistance of this racist society, right? And the resistance, you're like, okay, these guys are good, and then you're like, oh, these guys are kind of insane. Like they're doing wild shit to the point where they're gonna like kill kids and also do shitty things, right? We can talk about that later. But there's a point where you literally see somebody who is not white about to kill a child. You have to kill her, right? It is the most blatant. Like, hey, we're not saying all white people, okay? We're not saying that.
Even if the entire theme was centered around people who want to be plantation owners are bad, that's not the same as all white people are bad. Because like it's the same thing when people were pointing out Wolfenstein. And I was like, Wolfenstein, the thing is Nazis are bad. Nazis are bad, right?
What does that say about you? What does that say about them that they're defending it and that they're like this means white men? I'm like, we didn't say that. You said that. You said
if you feel attacked in a game,
like
you have to kill Nazis.
The two. They're shooting some identity to that.
It says something if that offends you and you think that they're talking about you when they're criticizing Nazis. Like I feel like that's a little bit of a self-tell, but like Boogie is trying to grift now off of this whole alt-right Gamergate 2 thing because there's this consulting firm called Sweet Baby Inc. It's like 16 employees, and they do a lot of work with like other companies to supplement their writing, side stories, stuff like that. Like it's a consulting firm, right? They've worked on the biggest, most successful games, God of War, Spider-Man 2. So it's a really like powerful company. Or successful company, I should say. Yeah. But conservatives are portraying them as like a powerful company in the sense that like they're taking things that were written and then they're swapping it out, like make this more woke. Okay, this white guy, take him out, put a black character in. And they're trying to make it seem as if like this company is the reason why all of gaming went woke. When in actuality, like they're just supplemental. Like,
do they know what a consulting firm is? Like
that's what I wanted to say.
It's a contract to do specific work that they're asked to do.
Yeah, but the situation gets. Do you know how it started, Mike? Did you look into it at all?
It kind of has been bubbling up for a while. So there was a Steam curated page called something like Sweet Baby Ink Detector.
It was Sweet Baby Ink Detector, and then they and one of the people from Sweet Baby Ink who was pretty upset with them posted it on X and it had the Streisand effect. We're like, hey, you should report this group.
Exactly.
A bunch of people joined the group and it created backlash. Now, I will say this though, like 100%, like the allegation that Sweet Baby Inc. is like somehow wokeifying games is fucking ridiculous. Like that's not how game development works. Like them saying like, did you make this character black? If you've ever worked in a professional environment and you say, hey, we have to change the race of a character, that's like 10,000 meetings, right? That's so many meetings. Like you go into inception at that point, right? But like the person who was at the center of those was very aggressive, had some pretty like fucked up tweets in the past. And like literally after like the thing was starting to die down, after Toriyama died, they posted like a pretty anti-Toriyama tweet, like right after and then it just became an insane kind of thing. And now
to your point, though, even if the head of Sweet Baby Inc. Was literally saying something like, we need to kill all white people, that's no direct
That's not the
evidence.
head. It's just it's one of the employees. It's one of the
well, either way, it's a team of 16 people. This is a consulting firm. Like anyone who's saying this is part of a grand conspiracy doesn't understand that every single major corporation who wants to have public facing branding
not at all
consultant firms all the time. That's like, this is not a bombshell revelation.
Even
not
at all.
Sweet Baby Inc. is the video game. Sweet Baby Inc. is the video game World Economic Forum, apparently.
Yeah.
You will eat the bugs. You will change the race of the characters in the video game.
Well, they were specifically making allegations like, so one of the main characters in Alan Wake 2, Saga, is a black woman. And they're like, okay, Sweet Baby Inc., who worked on this game, they race swapped Saga. It was supposed to be a white woman. And basically they came out like, no, she was always a black woman.
Exactly,
And so, like, I think that you're right, Zed, that it certainly was Streisand affected. And I think that in trying to get that, like, little curation page removed, it ended up having, like, the opposite effect. Part of the problem was that those people were, like, using it to harass them. But I think that they ended up giving too much attention to it. And then it kind of emboldened these people. But now they're trying to turn this into a broader thing. And it's, like, spiraling. And it's being called Gamergate 2 by dipshits like Boogie and probably the Quartering who want to make it into this thing. Too. Yeah, the pronouns guy, because Gamergate 2, that's like money on YouTube, right? Like if you go back to the anti-SJW era, you could shit out some dumbass video about how woke this dumbass college student is and how stupid they are with their pink hair and get like hundreds of thousands of views. So like it's a cash cow. That's why they're trying to like instigate a Gamergate 2. But in actuality, like it's one fucking consulting firm and they don't have all this power. But like any type of diversity is being like credited to Sweet Baby Inc. So there's a scene in Spider-Man 2 or a side mission in Spider-Man 2 where it's like, okay, you have to help this gay kid set up something so he can ask his boyfriend to homecoming. And it's like, woke. But like they tried to make it seem as if this was like shoehorned in when all of the side missions are very personal. Like there's one where you're helping this lady find her dad who has dementia. And he shares his story about how he met his wife. There's another one where you play as Miles Morales' girlfriend. And she's deaf, so like they kind of give you the perspective of you can't hear, and you're helping this girl with her art who doesn't feel like it's a very personal thing. So it's not like that felt shoehorned in, but they're trying to make it seem as if like this is DEI but for video games. Yeah,
I had no idea video games got so woke now. They got deaf characters in there now. Unbelievable! Get out of here.
Rainbow flags too. Yeah,
rainbow flags.
I just want to clarify.
It's a pretty cool sequence.
Lance, I wasn't defending.
Oh, I didn't think you were.
Harassment. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, in terms of like this culture war thing, all of these guys, like all these guys are marketing guys, right? Like they all built their lives off of marketing, off of grievance and outrage, right? Yeah. And so, especially when you are in a consulting firm where you are trying to make sure the outward appearance of a game, like the intentions of a game and the content within a game, is reflective in a way that makes it seem understanding of the context of what things are, right? You have to be really careful
they
about
were
the
asked
context.
If this was culturally sensitive. That's apparently what they were consulted for.
Yeah. So I like 100%. I completely understand what the thing is, but like especially with it's like if you are near a hornet's nest, right? I'm not saying don't like remove the hornet's nest. I'm saying understand how to remove. I think posting it on X, a platform owned by a guy who like retweets anti-Semitic conspiracy theories and is now co-signing people to go after your company in a way that is insane and completely incorrect, right? Is probably not the wave to do. And I understand 100% you're getting harassed and everything like that. As somebody who works in the game industry, I know quite a few people who have been harassed for random shit. Like I know a bunch of Project L developers who have been harassed for being too woke. All that shit is insane and annoying, right? But I think especially with dealing with these really dangerous people, because they are dangerous. People like Boogie, people like Stuttering Craig, people like fucking low tier, like all of these guys will take any mountain and any molehill and make it into a mountain because it's easy for their brand to do. You know, and so
they've also changed it too. They did the whole goalpost where now they're saying that I just said I want games to be fun, or we're just saying we want
that's right.
Fun.
Yeah,
who's on the other side of that issue though? Who's like,
I want games not to be
shitty.
I want to. That's also, why I play Dragon's Dogma and Elden Ring, so I get my ass kicked.
Yeah, I think it's heels versus babyface times 10. You know?
Yeah,
that guy. Who was like complaining about the Starfield pronouns when they came out.
What they don't realize is that, of course,
hilarious.
He's still around.
Yeah.
But like one thing that these people don't realize is that like these companies, like, I think that being woke, for lack of a better word, is an inevitability, because gaming now is such a huge industry. It's no longer just like nerds in their basements. Like there's a bunch of different people. So as that market expands, they're going to want to capture a wider audience. There's going to be more characters that aren't just white dudes, right? Like Drake from Uncharted, Mario. Like, it's not just going to be white people forever. Yep. Of course, it's going to expand because it's getting bigger, and that's a good sign. Like, you want the industry to grow in that way, but they can't grapple with it. And so it's like, oh my God, this is white replacement. In video games now, it's digitally too. We're being erased. This is white genocide. It's just so frustrating. And then people have an incentive to kind of like play to these grievances because it does really well on YouTube. And that's what really irritated me about Boogie. And like, to Lance's point, like, everybody asked him, and I think he even kind of tacitly admitted that, like, oh yeah, I don't have an example. But like, what's the example? And he couldn't even come up with one, because there's no game that tells you it's bad to be white, right? Like, it's just, and they say that, okay, look, I don't want to think about politics when I play video games. I don't want to be hit over the head with this. But what they mean by that is, like, politics to them is like, oh, there's a gay person. How is that political though? Like, to you, it's political because you don't like them.
There's someone who's not white. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, there's somebody who's not in your bubble. It's like it's
exactly
anything, any sort of identity based thing is not like you want to be, which is so fucking hilarious to me, because like half of the like were we in this era like for a while saying that we want our games to challenge us. Like, that's the whole thing of like why From Software is a thing. Like, you want games to challenge you. Like, even those games intellectually challenge you and make you go through disturbing things, and even things that you are not comfortable with necessarily. You're telling me something that is normal to everybody else that you are not comfortable with. All of a sudden you draw the line and, oh, there's a gay person here. Oh, there's an Arab person here. Oh, there's like that in Starfield, a pronoun has destroyed your suspension of disbelief, right? Like, you're in a fucking starship playing Skyrim in space, but a fucking like, that is the big, and it's just like what I still just can't keep getting back to like why this is like a strength fantasy for people like Boogie and all these people. It's like, it's such a soft fucking it's so soft, dude. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like that's good. That's the line for you? Like, that's fucked up your time? Like, how are you at a party, bro? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
It's so weird and unhinged.
I don't think
and
he goes to many parties. I think that's a bad question to ask.
I think it's a way to try to stay relevant. Like, it's just like, it's the lowest common denominator. It's guaranteed going to get some kind of an audience. And it's really easy because there's no thinking involved, and your audience that'll be into it also does not think. So you could just spout off, not make any sense, and as long as your top line is comfortable with them or familiar to them, that you're complaining about some shit because you're white, that's the in. That's all you need.
That's absolutely right for the influencers, right? I think it's also telling that like. Anything someone said, any sort of identity they view as, but like white is an identity. The issue is that they view white as the default.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they are white. So
also, white is a color. It's not even like an identity. Like there's Irish, Celtic, Italian. Like there's so many.
Right. Well, it's also telling people. It's also very telling who identifies as white instead of a specific like ethnicity, like you said, like Irish or Italian or something like that.
Yeah.
English. Be proud of being Irish. That's very different than saying that you're proud because you're part of like the white race or something like that. Like,
right. No, absolutely.
Hell yeah, be proud to be Irish.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair to Boogie, we were
Italian,
not
so
somebody...
much. If you're Italian, keep it on the DL.
Don't say that he's Italian. Okay, that technically wasn't extremely racist.
Yeah, I'm married to an Italian, so I can also talk shit about Italians as well. I have a blank check for that.
I don't think that's how that works, Mike.
I'm dating a white person, so I can just be a shitty person to white people.
That's true.
It's a thing.
That's true.
It's a thing.
Forever.
My girlfriend. I met my girlfriend's parents. I'm like, where are you guys? Like, what's your like? I know you're white, but like, where's your? And they're like, oh, we're British. I'm like, I'm Indian. That's not a great thing. That's not. This is an awkward situation. And so every so often when she says something bad, I'm like, just like what's it? Just like the Raj back in 1948 and shit like that. I give her shit.
She colonized your heart.
She colonized my heart. She colonized my heart. I had to get Gandhi in there. You were gonna say something about Boogie, Mike?
Yeah, I was gonna say this is the guy who like promoted a documentary about himself that made him look so bad. We watched like part of it on the show.
It was very
before.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah, like
the clip that we watched.
I can pull it up if you guys want to see it.
No,
wasn't the clip like it's $4,000 Diablo? I gotta get Diablo.
No,
I gotta get
not that one.
The one that stands out to me is like, so at this time his YouTube channel was in the tank, and so the director of the documentary was like, hey man, why don't we try to get a job? You know, that's like, if you need money, that's something that you might try to do. You're not entitled to just like get money from YouTube if nobody's watching your shit anymore. And so he met with like a job recruiter, and the things that he said to this woman, like jaw-dropping, just so unserious. The things that he said about himself, and then to share this like the whole documentary. I cannot believe he would share this. I would run away from this.
Is it a bit though? Is it a bit?
No,
it sounds like you would
not a
upload it
bit.
If it was a bit.
It's not. He had a bit
His whole
about
life is a
himself
bit.
when he like
true,
it was a
David.
bit. He started with a bit, and then this happened. Like this was like it's too harrowing to be a bit. Like if that's a bit, that's like a Joaquin Phoenix level of bit.
He's playing the long game with this bit.
He's playing really long. Like Boogie's gonna come out and just like, I've actually been a sophisticated aristocrat for 48 years.
Well, he already did that. He's like, I'm not really Francis. I'm Boogie. I'm the smart. That's just a character. It's like, man, I wish Boogie was a character too, because fuck.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just remember him from Gamergate 1 because I was covering that 10 years ago.
I have it pulled up. We have to.
I remember him being a very bizarre individual and sad individual then. So
I was really a huge fan of him before because I felt bad for him. And at the time that I was watching in like 2018, like he was really trying to get his life together, and he talked about his mental health issues.
This was like 4 years after he was already being a piece of shit during Gamergate. Though.
You know what
I didn't know about that.
You know what the sad thing about Gamergate though is too, right? Like if you take the initial premise, which is that there is corruption in the games industry that is hurting the gamers in a way that is widespread. That's not the
initial premise.
I take strong issue with this as
that's
the initial
premise.
That's what I think they sold it as later, that this was about ethics and game.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
but I'm saying that sale of that grievance specifically is a universal grievance, which is true. Like people like EA laying off thousands of people.
Oh yeah,
right?
there was so many legitimate reasons to complain about the industry and the ethics in gaming journalism, which was corrupt.
Even their fake reasoning for Gamergate though didn't even correctly identify the villains in the gaming industry that are ruining your games. They didn't go after the major publishers. They didn't go after EA.
They got mad at journalists. And by the way,
they didn't go after the rich white executives.
They went after women too, right? Like specifically, I thought that there was this quid pro quo going on where women were making games and then sleeping with people to get good reviews of their games, which it turned out that's just
like Jane from Assassin's Creed.
That was a lie.
Yeah.
Nathan Grace did not do that.
The entirety of Gamergate started was because a female developer by the name of Zoe Quinn created a text-based game.
I believe they're non-binary. I think it's they them.
That was, I mean, maybe they came out since, but at the time, that's what.
Yes, at the time, yes.
Right. Created a text-based game that was interesting. It was called like Depression Quest or something. It was unique. It wasn't like a gamer's game. It was just like a little indie game. And it got
everything is a gamer's game. You don't know. We will eat a text base. We played Undertale in this motherfucker. All right,
but it got this game got named on some best of lists or whatever. It got good reviews. No single profile for this game. It was just on a list of many other good games, and people got pissed about it because they think she didn't deserve it. And the game didn't deserve it. And then they found she knew one of the people who reviewed her, or that she dated someone who was tangentially involved or something.
Grayson, the gaming journalist.
Right. And so at first it wasn't even called Gamergate. It was called Five Guys, Burger and Fries, because the claim they were making was that she slept with those 5 game reviewers to get the reviews or something.
And that's the game was
how
free.
It started.
It was free.
And then
it was not a promotion for it. It was a free game.
It was free
Still
too.
Get
it was
for free
game.
on Steam.
Right.
Yes.
And so the name changed because fucking Adam Baldwin of Firefly fame, the right-wing actor, he saw a video from like the guy was called like the internet somebody or something. I don't remember his name. Some weirdo about it. And so he just tweeted out the video and hashtagged it Gamergate. And they used that as the opportunity to rename it and pretend it was really about ethics in video game journalism, when the whole thing started going after Zoe Quinn. And then furthermore, they then focused all of their ire on going after Anita Sarkeesian, who already was hated.
Yeah, I never understood why she was hated. Because Gamergate took place when I stopped playing games. I was in grad school, so I was just not tuned in. So why did people hate Anita Sarkeesian? Because she was one person that I learned about through Boogie, because he said that he was at some VidCon or whatever, it was something, and he felt uncomfortable by her because she made a comment or gave him a dirty look. Anita, but now, in retrospect, it's like, wait a second. Boogie's probably the person who was being the asshole in this situation. So why do they hate Anita Sarkeesian so much?
Anita has an aggressive style.
Eli in the chat, the guy who made that video that Adam Baldwin saw was the internet aristocrat. I remember he was a big YouTuber. I don't know if he's still around.
I just realized that we could put comments in this thing that we're using. I wasn't seeing any comments.
You can submit links and things.
Oh, and, perfect, great, yeah. So if I'm gonna, perfect, chat. Okay, cool, yeah, okay. But I was saying, Anita has like a very I'm saying Anita like I don't know her, has a very aggressive like style of critiquing things. There are times where
she also didn't play video games before she started her critique.
Exactly. So there's critiques she has that are very valid about, hey, like, you know, the way that the damsel in distress meme has been used, absolutely valid. There are other places where her really critiques are really out of context. She did a critique about Breath of the Wild, which was super out of context and felt very and like, again, like similar to the Sweet Baby Inc. thing, I think like when you're fighting a media war with people who are very savvy at finding any opening to destroy your argument, and again, these are people who are nefarious and use every tactic in the book to destroy your credibility, that's not great, because that's spread to other activists and other people who are going through similar things. There are also people who have I have a very complicated like feelings about Anita Sarkeesian. I think all the harassment she went through was absolutely unwarranted, absolutely fucked up. I think a lot of the accusations that Gamergate made about her are insane and ridiculous, and those people need to get professional help. But there were other feminists who had frustrating conversations with Anita and her versions and everything like that. I can't speak to it because I am a guy, and it's not good for me to be like, hey, this is what feminism is. But
the point is that she was making like academic critique of video games from a feminist perspective. I mean, this is something that happens to every single art form.
Yep.
Academics make these sorts of cultural and social critiques about film, about literature, about music. And so she attempted to do that for video games from a feminist perspective. And they couldn't handle it. If she said something you disagreed with, how do you respond? You take on the critique with your own critique. But they couldn't do that because honestly, it was probably beyond them to even verbalize what their issue with her was, other than woman wants to change my games or something. Woman wants to see more inclusive games.
Take away the titties.
The point you bring up about. And the point you bring about like that happens to every narrative art form is absolutely valid. It's absolutely true. Like, it does happen. It happens constantly in film where people just like they'll do an annoying critique of a film that like, this doesn't make any fucking sense why you would critique it this way. Not necessarily that her things had that, but people will make wildly off the mark big editorial like think pieces about film, but they won't get they won't start a movement of insane people being like, we need to this is a widespread conspiracy. Like, that doesn't happen off of a small think piece. And the fact that she was critiquing it in that way is ridiculous. Bye, Rebecca!
Hi.
My voice raised 14 pitches from that.
I thought she used auto-tune.
That was pretty high. That was Mariah Carey high.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. But yeah.
Well, we can probably move on from video games.
Yeah, we can.
Anyway, Rebecca,
guys, there's a woman in the room. We have to start talking about video games. Okay.
I just want to clarify. All of us were literally just talking about like, well, here's the thing about feminism and how you should discuss feminism. And Rebecca walks into the room and we're like,
and then we were like, we need a
right
woman.
on time.
Next subject, quick. We don't want a woman's perspective here.